Washingtonian has always been unusual in the Washington publishing scene because Washington has long been a center of national publications, but there in the middle of it is a magazine, a serious magazine of journalism, covering our city and our region, an unusual role for a magazine in this national publishing center.
In 1965, former CIA officer Lachlan Phillips founded Washingtonian Magazine. Phillips was the son of art collector Duncan Phillips, who established the Phillips Collection.
Back in 1965, city magazines were just getting started as a category. Now, almost all large cities and into the medium-sized cities have city magazines. So when it started, it was a little bit of a mix between being the New Yorker, which is an intellectual national magazine, and a look into a city, the seeds of what would become city magazines everywhere.
The magazine's first direct mail campaign brought in 12,000 subscribers at $3 a year. When the Washingtonian was young, our region had no metro system. D.C. had very little theater. We ate out at a handful of Chinese and French restaurants and a few steakhouses.
It has also changed in its style over the years. The early years it was kind of quiet and really thoughtful and seeking to be sort of New Yorker-y. It went through a period in the late 60s and early 70s of really sort of creative, crazy, jazzy kind of language. In more recent years, we've really embraced service journalism, which I think, when it is done well, puts its finger on the culture just as much as a sociological essay does.
The magazine benefited from the city's expanding real estate market and cultural scene. 3 years into the adventure, Phillips hired Jack Limpert as editor. Limpert led the development of the magazine into its well-known, award-winning combination of reporting on politics, arts, and society, along with its destination service pieces.
An amazing editor named Jack Limpert, who headed the Washingtonian editorial side for 40 years, an unheard of run in big league magazine publishing. Jack quite simply was, and would still be today if you were not in semi-retirement, one of the great magazine editors of all time.
As one of the most successful magazines in the country, under Limpert's leadership, Washingtonian earned 5 National Magazine Awards. In 1979, Lachlan Phillips sold the magazine to Philip Merrill in order to devote more time to his family's art museum. Merrill continuously served as chairman and publisher of the magazine for 27 years, except for periods of government service, during which his wife Eleanor Merrill would run the magazine. In 2006, Kathy Merrill Williams was working as a business consultant for a government contractor.
So I took over as publisher 10 years ago after my father passed away. I did, however, intern here one summer in 1988, and so that was my other experience here. We have a very, I'd like to think, unique family, but a very supportive family. I have an older brother, younger sister, who are very supportive of my work here. My mother, for the past 10 years, has been an incredible sounding board and an incredible resource of information.
We have to think a lot about what it is that people are talking about, and oftentimes if we do our job well enough, we can identify the thing that people should be talking about. You know, I think a good magazine knocks icons off their pedestals sometimes, but it also identifies and finds and celebrates new icons who ought to be put on pedestals.
People 50 years ago and today still fundamentally want 2 things. How to get the most out of Washington and how Washington works hasn't changed at all. Now, if you talk about change in journalism, how people get that news has changed immensely. So methods of delivery have changed, but the basics of journalism have remained the same and are frankly more important now than they were 20 years ago.
As a lot of other magazines get thinner and thinner in advertising pages, the Washingtonian seems to be getting fatter and fatter, and Kathy Merrill Williams is doing a marvelous job as publisher, keeping this tradition alive.
The Historic Society catalogs the history of the city. We like to think that as a magazine, if you look back 50 years, there is a lens into that history as well.